Can you experience consciousness or yourself? Can you experience consciousness or yourself or sense of being without a physical body? Can you experience consciousness without the constraints of the identity that we call the personal self, or what we call embodied identity? I am a soul trapped inside a body, squeezed into the volume of a body and the span of a lifetime. I mean, this might sound to be an amazing, wonderful theory, but can we actually experience it? And I believe, and it's the experience of many, forget about outer body experiences, that we can do this through practices that take us beyond the experience of an embodied or localized self. Meditation practices can do that. And there is, of course, a phenomenon called self-boundary dissolution, which occurs in deep meditation, of course, in sleep every day, where the sense of location, agency, and first-person perspective fades, allowing a more unified experience of consciousness. Through techniques like embodied meditation, one can focus on bodily sensations and breath, gradually moving away from subject-object awareness to a state of oneness where the observer and observed merge. And this can lead to profound intimacy with what we call presence, being, and effortless sensation of pure existence. Similarly, exercises, guided exercises like releasing core identities can help us shed social labels and roles, cultivating inner peace and clarity by reconnecting with our authentic self. These practices highlight the potential for meditation to dissolve rigid self-conceptions, enabling us to know that we actually exist without a body. The body is the interpretation of the fluctuations of consciousness in waking state, not even in dream state, because in dream state, we experience a more subtle dream body. But this is also a lucid dream in a vivid now. And as we access deeper layers of consciousness and experience, we experience not only greater freedom, but also greater presence of our authentic self, which is independent of the body. Okay, so embodied meditation is something which is very interesting because it differs from traditional meditation practices, primarily in its focus on the integration of mind and body through direct awareness of physical sensations and processes. So, shift in embodied meditation, there is a shift of attention from purely mental processes, which are thoughts, mantras, to the interface between what we call the mind and the body, both fluctuations of consciousness. So, embodied meditation emphasizes awareness of physical sensations, posture, movement, breath, as a way to cultivate presence and deepen the practice of not identifying with the body or its concepts of, not identifying with the concepts of a body by interpreting sensations. And so traditional meditation, of course, centers on mental techniques focusing on the breath, repeating mantras, observing thoughts. This is called the progressive forms of meditation. But embodied meditation may also incorporate subtle movements, guided breathing, postural changes, on and on. The idea ultimately is to understand that what we call the body is an interpretation of sensations. Now, I will do an exercise with you to show this is true. But the most important insight is you can get rid of the idea experientially that you are confined to a body, that you exist because of a body, that you're squeezed into the volume of a body and the span of a lifetime. You don't need a body to know your authentic self. You don't need a body. In fact, when you know your authentic self, then you realize that your body is a concept. If you find this useful, let me know. If you let me know, I'll continue to do these. And if you find them useful, share them with others. These ideas, which, by the way, are just ideas. Ultimate reality cannot be described through ideas.